iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi.
Tukiwa tunaanza tuliona kwamba uwepo na uliyetambuliwa uwepo wa Deputy Speaker wetu wa kaunti ya Mombasa, na sisi kama Mombasa Youth Assembly tunajivunia kwa sababu ni kijana mwenzetu, na kwenda siku za usoni ule ujana ukaweza kuenea ndani ya kaunti ya Mombasa, tukaangazia zile ndoto zetu. Kwa hivyo napenda kuchukua fursa hii rasmi kumkaribisha bwana Deputy Speaker ili aje atufungulie huu mkao rasmi, kwa sababu ni mkao wa ulio na ndoto ya vijana katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Karibu bwana Deputy Speaker.
Kuwashukuru Mombasa Youth Assembly kutupatia fursa hii kuwa tukae pamoja. Kusema kweli, jana bwana Spika akiniambia leo nije kumwakilisha, mwanzo nilikuwa na ile ati maana nakumbuka nasema Mombasa Youth Assembly tumeona kitu chapa wakati wa nyuma katika mitandao. Kanaambia bwana Spika, isiwe itakuwa ni forum ya twenda tuchapani. Akaniambia hapana, Mombasa Youth Assembly imetoa vijana kama kina Rafael Bwire ambao walikuwa ni wamoja katika hii, na ni vijana ambao wako na maono. Na vile vile Mombasa Youth Assembly imefanya bidii, sababu bunge letu la mwanzo ama bunge la kwanza la kaunti ya Mombasa tulikuwa na vijana takriban kama 3, lakini safari hii vijana wametawala katika bunge lile la Mombasa, na yote ni kutokamana na nguvu zenu na bidii zenu. Mimi niko na written speech ambayo mtaniruhusu nisome, sababu mkikumbuka wakati wa nyuma PC alikuwa akitumiwa written speech na president, na ikienda na ndege ni lazima asome, ama sio bwana? Na akikosea hata single word ataenda kujibu, ama sio? Lakini nashukuru tumetransform hayo mambo ya ule udikteta uliokuwa wakati ule umekwisha. Lakini mimi kuja hapa ama ofisi ya Speaker kuja hapa ni kuwa tuko pamoja na tunawaheshimu na tunaheshimu kazi ile ambayo unafanya. Lakini mtaniruhusu tu kidogo, kwa sababu I had the president around, and in the written speech I'll have to include the president. Sasa members of the County Assembly of Mombasa, Speaker of the Mombasa Youth Assembly as the president of the, is it Mombasa Youth Assembly or the president of Mombasa? The president of Mombasa Youth Assembly. You know, in our assembly, we don't have a president. It's just the speaker, the governor, the speaker of the Mombasa Youth Assembly, Honorable Mary Wangari, clerk of the Mombasa Youth Assembly, Miss Emily Okello, officials present, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be your guest of honor today. As the Speaker of the County Assembly of Mombasa, I'm indeed grateful to be part of this youthful platform that aims at improving the lives of our youths. Mwe pia mnatembelea katika plenary yetu, na sisi pia vile vile mwe mnatualika tuwe tunatembea tukiona ni jinsi gani tuna articulate mambo yetu. Na vile vile siku ya Jumatano saa 8 baada ya business kupitisha, tutakuwa na motion ya People's Assembly. Kwa hiyo karibuni.
We will start by the first agenda ya familiarization, na tunaanza na Mombasa Youth Assembly. Kwa hivyo nitamkaribisha Mheshimiwa Barua kwa hii session. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Lab. And the idea is to develop common values and language for us to be able to have a platform to engage. So based on the program, because we would need to introduce the profile, and we'll call upon Honorable Raphael Bwire to take us through the Mombasa Youth Assembly profile.
And a member of Mombasa Youth Assembly. For the visitors who are attending our session for the first time, welcome. I've been requested to take you through the profile of Mombasa Youth Assembly. We start by the introduction. The Mombasa Youth Assembly, abbreviated MOA, is an non-partisan youth platform that initiates policy touching on youth and community at large. The policy issues helps in promoting good governance, improve service delivery, and enhance public participation. MIA is implementing on a program using parliamentary sessions. The program has existed since 2009. Mombasa Youth Assembly, we are not affiliated to any political party. We are as independent as we are, and that we welcome any member from any political party as long as when you get here, you become non-partisan. And we also initiate our programs on policy touching issues, on best issues. And our main function also, as represented in our introduction, that we always outline the issues touching on the youth and the community at large. Mombasa Youth Assembly is represented in all constituencies within Mombasa County, which includes Isauni, Nyali, Changamwe, Nyumbu, Likoni, and Uvita. Mombasa Youth Assembly recognizes the challenges and opportunities identified through consultative process. This forum of this Mombasa Youth Assembly was started way back 2009. By then it was Kisauni parliamentary, something parliamentary, and we used to conduct our activities within Kisauni. But later on, we expounded our boundaries and reached to other constituencies, making it now no longer the Kisauni parliamentary group, but Mombasa Youth Assembly. Go back, please. You have seen the constituencies that Mombasa Youth Assembly is represented. We have the membership from all the constituencies we have within our counties. Next. Our main objectives, the Mombasa Youth Assembly objectives: positively nurturing youth leadership in Mombasa County. We nurture the youth leadership in Mombasa County, and as my deputy speaker has said, I'm one of those who have been nurtured by the Mombasa Youth Assembly, and that today I'm representing no longer just the youths of Junda, but the entire Junda and Kisauni. When I articulate issues in Mombasa County Assembly, I no longer now based on Junda. I go beyond my boundaries. Enhance citizen participation through consultative process. Of course, initiate a policy that will realize meaningful development. We don't just discuss issues. We discuss issues that have weight and that they have a development, that they are meaningful in terms of development. So we no longer just meet and discuss issues. We discuss issues that tends to solve the problems affecting people from mashinani, the meaningful development. Consolidate youth voices into one voice. Of course, we do have so many forums, and from there we collect the views and the voices of different youths in the community at large, and we make them one voice through Mombasa Youth Assembly. Act as linkage to youth and opportunities. We always also go beyond our boundaries and look for the opportunities for those youths who are not maybe enlightened or so. Empower youth through trainings and capacity building. We also conduct trainings for the youth. Not only the honorable members of this house, but we also have other youths who are not the honorable members. We always take them for trainings and capacity building. Next. MYA achieves these objectives through one, the World Youth Barazas. These are public participation forums, dialogue platform organized by members of parliament, MYA, in every ward within Mombasa County through a consultative process with an objective of collecting views from the youths, capacity building the youths in different states, report back and offer referral services. We always conduct what we call the youth barazas to hear the challenges that our dear brothers and sisters face down there. And we always do, or we conduct all this in each and every ward, and they are organized by the Member of Parliament, Mombasa Youth Assembly. For example, I represent Junda, so give out or air out their views on challenges. I may be knowing their challenges, but they know their challenges more than I know. So we do welcome them, give them time to tell us what they think should be done, what they are going through, and what they think should be done. Number two, we also have the parliamentary session. The issues identified from members of parliament and his or her 15-member committee, youth, ward youth, barazas, executives, and stakeholders are put into motion for debate and proper solution sought for implementation. Relevant stakeholders are invited for consultation of the same, and requested to facilitate implementation. This has provided a soft heart of problem solving rather than a forceful act. Different stakeholders are well touched with the debate to promote active participation in development. After the Youth Baraza, we do put together the challenges expressed or rather viewed out or rather outlined by the people during the Youth Baraza. Then we put them in form of motions in our sessions. We always have the parliamentary sessions. This is after collecting the views through Youth Barazas. We discuss them in form of motions in our plenaries, in a way of looking for the solutions. And we always invite so many people, the stakeholders. I remember even we had, last year we had the senator, by then was the senator, Honorable Sarai. So we always invite people whom we think can provide the solutions. These are the stakeholders and so many people that we think they can help us to identify or rather to come up with a solution to the problems affecting our people. All the debates in the House are guided by the standing orders that act as a rule of the House. Yes, we also have our standing orders. They might be different from those of Mombasa County Assembly, but they are of standard. Yes. So we are guided by the rules in form of standing orders. Our mission: presenting views and influence policy solutions through inclusive consultative process. It's a self-explanatory. Our vision: good governance with the policy delivering services responding to the needs, aspirations, and the grievances of the Mombasa youth and the community at large. That was the Mombasa Youth Assembly profile, and I'm happy to have been here to take you through. I hope that you have achieved something. For those who are our visitors today, this is how we do our things. Some of us maybe we just sit down in Mombasa County Assembly and draft the motions and we take them through the required stages. But with us, Mombasa Youth Assembly, we first go to Mashinani, collect the views, sit down, work on them, and then take them to plenary. When you take them to plenary now, as you have seen the honorable members of Mombasa County Assembly, we always address the issues, the real issues affecting Wananchi. And I wanted to emphasize on that so that my fellow honorable members of Mombasa County Assembly, when we happen to draft motions, let's draft motions that are really addressing the issues affecting Wananchi at Mashinani. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Raphael. And I hope the office of the Speaker now can understand the difference between the Mombasa Senate and Mombasa Youth Assembly. We don't blame, but we're part of the solution. Yes, the profile I think is very self-explanatory, and there's an aspect of implementation that now falls under the duty bearers. But before I go to the implementation part of it, this work is a lot. So there must be a structure that tries to engage the people on the ground to achieve all these objectives. So allow me to take you through the Mombasa Assembly organogram so that we'll be able to have a mental picture of what is happening on the ground for us to be able the ultimate goals of ensuring that everybody is being involved in the development agenda. And the overall leadership is restored for president. So this is the difference because the Mombasa County inaongozwa na governor, lakini kwetu ni president. And we have two arms. Kuna hiyo ya mawaziri, the cabinet, na kuna mawaziri. Kuna hiyo assembly na mawaziri. So katika upande ule mwingine kule tuko na speaker, and I don't want to go into the roles and responsibilities of the speaker because I think we are all full aware. But I believe we all know the speaker or the speaker. Na tuko na deputy president upande ule wa kulia kwangu mama hivi, yeye pia ndiye anakaa katika bunge. President wetu anakaa katika bunge. Then the majority leader. Now we don't have a minority leader because sisi hatuvutane. Our ultimate objective is to ensure that the people of Mombasa get the service that they deserve. So huwa tushindani huko. Kuna clerk kule mwisho ambaye yuko nje ya ile bunge kwa sababu you don't know kama clerk is the next official. Then we have a secretary cabinet. Na tuko na deputy president ambaye kwa kabisa na mawaziri wake, lakini the deputy president and the cabinet secretary also sit in the assembly. That's the difference between the two houses. Kule kwenu mawaziri hawakai katika bunge, huku kwetu wanakaa katika bunge because there was a deliberate. Because there's some information that they need to share wakati wa debate. And we also guided because the issues coming from the public huwa ziko nyingi sana. Na ndio sababu pesa tuko na House Business Committee to prioritize what's supposed to be discussed in the assembly. And we have 5 standing committees. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of what is happening at the standing committee because we all know that we're supposed to do some research on the matter to be taken to the assembly. Within Mombasa Youth Assembly, we have 48 members of parliament, 30 elected, and 18 nominated. Tunajua kwamba Mombasa tuko na 30 wards, na ndio vile tunawakilisha katika hizo wards zote 30, alafu kuna wale 18 ambao wana nominated. If you go back to the profile, we realize that we are represented in all the 6 sub-counties. So tuko Kisauni, Nyali, Vita, Changamwe, Jomvu, and Likoni. Then in every ward, there's what we call the 15 members committee. Now, 15 member committee wanapatikana katika every village, lakini tunakuwa na villages in Mombasa. So this is something that also need to consider. I don't know, you can correct me in Mombasa kuna village ngapi kama shida sasa hivi. This 15 members committee was 16 wao ule mbunge wao wanasaidiana kutengeneza vile baraza at the one level. Basically, kwa sababu wale they can do the mobilization, they can easily identify the challenges on the ground, they participate in collecting information, using different forms of methods of research. Then mwisho kabisa tuko na 4 village members, representative. So if you look at the structure, it's easier for us to get the nitty-gritty information from the people, alafu ndio tuna flow back to the assembly for decision making, ndio tuzilete kule kwenu for implementation, because with us we don't have resources for implementation, and you are the duty bearers katika county. And this is how we are able to achieve our objectives. But the structure is on 750 members in Mombasa County, right from the village level mpaka tukifika kwa wabunge na mawaziri wao inakuwa ni 750. Inakuwa ni rahisi hiyo county organization kwa sababu ya ile structure ni rahisi kupata wale watu kwa pamoja. That's our structure. Tuko sawa? Kama tayari tunaanza kufikiria chai.
Sawa.
I would also wish to take you through another document tunaita policy cycle, ndio uone vipi yani matatizo yanapatikana kule chini yanafikia mpaka kiwango yanakuja katika ofisi zenu. So it's also a very short document ambayo tumeamua kwanza tunaanza kwa baraza. And complaining does not solve the problem. So what happens katika baraza ni kuchukua tunakuita wale wahusika. Bana, you are the member of FCA in this one, your people are complaining about the C1. Can you just do something about that? Now within a short time inakuwa ni rahisi. Wengine watakuwa pengine katika baraza nasema hawajapata sijui kitambulisho. We call the office of the register of persons. You just go and discuss with these people and design a program and now they can be issued with those important documents. So the baraza, the issues that can be solved at the baraza level, na zile nyingine ambazo zinakuwa ni ngumu ndio zinaenda katika business house committee for deliberation and prioritization. Zikifika kule sasa ni watu ndio watapambana wabunge ni gani itakuja katika bunge kujadiliwa. Na before the House Business Committee ikipewa zile issues, because we don't operate on hearsay, they are being sent to the Standing Committee and Cabinet Secretary, specifically for research. Kwa sababu kuna hizi blame game, na mtu atapoatoa na hoja zake aseme kuna tatizo hili na kumbe la tatizo katika jamii. Na ndio tunahakikisha kwamba katika Standing Committee utafiti unafanywa kuhakikisha kwamba ni tatizo kweli ama ni tatizo gushi. Kwa sababu tusiye kwa tunavyo wasting a lot of resources to address issues that are not even affecting the people. From the Standing Committees and Cabinet Secretaries, the other aspect that is very important is research. Kwa sababu all development are being informed by research. Hauwezi jenga daraja watu kule Mishomoroni ukaipatia first priority na problem liko ni fere. So you must have some backing. Why do you want to implement? Why do you want that motion or that issue to be taken to the political discussion? Unless you have a very concrete information that will guide you to formulate a policy that is really addressing the issues affecting the people. Then kutoka research tunapata mna draft resolution. Hizi nazo tuwa zinakuwa zikipatikana, zikishatengenezwa kuna formal communication to MI members ambao inakuwa being done by the clerk and the secretary to the cabinet. Here at appear as resolution to the respective areas. Zikimaliziwa kuna plenary meeting to discuss and adopt resolution. We also debate. Na tutaongea, tutashindana, lakini mwishowe lazima tukuje na mswada ambao utakuwa unajadili ile tatizo. We don't end up the process after, but just tuna follow up and action by cabinet. Tumeambiwa katika profile kwamba we normally invite stakeholders in our plenary, and it's purely to assist us in implementation. Mombasa Youth Assembly, ours is to identify the issues that affects the people on the ground, but we are incapacitated in terms of resources. We are not the duty bearers. The county government, we all wanapewa pesa. So stakeholders, they're either coming from the state departments or the county government to address the issues. So the cabinet secretary kazi yake kubwa ni kufanya follow up. Kulikuwa na tatizo la nyavu za wavuvi zimeenda na maji. You will follow up with the CS wa agriculture kuonekana how best the fishermen can be assisted. Na ni kukaa na wale mawaziri waelezee hii ndio imejitokeza huko na watafute mbinu ya kusaidia. Kwa hiyo kazi kubwa ni kwamba tunachangia katika wale ambao ni viongozi waweze kutatua wale matatizo kama mambo yako kule chini, kwa sababu kwa ile structure yetu inakuwa ni rahisi kuidentify kama inavyotoka katika jamii. Then report back. Report back is a very important mechanism, kwa sababu sisi kama viongozi, the two level of reporting back. Kwanza, report back to the plenary and report back to the community. This is very important kwa sababu information flow demystify some unhidden maybe thoughts. I just want to give an example. If you are a leader, don't make no assignment. If you don't report back, definitely that person will think that maybe you are weak in this people. Lakini kama ni kitu imekushinda, unakuwa just give honest feedback that hii kitu imenishinda because of A, B, and C. This person will understand you. But umepewa statement, uja report, definitely huyu jamaa atakuwa na fikra zake kwamba huyu jamaa amedanganya ama vipi. Kwa sisi kama bunge, we always take that initiative of reporting back kwa wale watu ambao tumehusika nao. Kuna wakati tulikuwa na baraza na one ya Shanzu, and the people in Shanzu were complaining of street lights for over 6 months because Ziwaki. So when we engaged the county government na tukasema tutafanya baraza Shanzu, believe me, the very day tunafanya baraza, kabla tumaliza baraza kazi liwaka. Just because watu wako pale chini, lakini kuchukua ile nafasi ya kuongelesha yule ambaye ni mhusika, watu wanakaa wa complain. So what happens when we report back? Tunasema tulipeleka haya malalamishi kwa wahusika na wamesema wataweka taa, ama wamesema watu wakataa kwa sababu ya fulani ama fulani. Sasa inakuwa ni rahisi kwamba watu watakuelewa. Kwa hiyo as much as we are leaders in both houses, reporting back is very crucial for us to maintain that public trust. For you to lose that public trust, it's all about communication. Now, that's how we achieve.
So tumeona profile, tukaangalia organogram na policy cycle. We will take a few questions juu ya hizo documents tatu and then tuta break. So anyone ambaye kuna swali, Mheshimiwa Samba.
Habari zenu. Umeona the structure, the profile, vile. Sasa mimi, there was a question that I asked yesterday, but it was by then it was immature. But this is the right forum pool is here. How do you do your elections? How do you choose your members? And in which forums? Where is your national, your assembly located? Those are the things that I need to know Number two, it seems that this assembly is just for only members. I don't think, or maybe you let us know where you also allow public participation, because ours we allow public participation, and most importantly, do you even come for, do you attend public galleries during our sessions? Because most of the time I see my friends like Vincent Abuya always attacking the county assembly, and I've never seen him attending even one of the sittings. But whenever we are done, you'll see him the first person to post. Those are the things I need to know. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Samba anataka ajue election procedure, parliament inafanywa wapi, public gallery, sio? Na kama sisi tu attend ile yenu. Sawa.
Morning. I have a question with regards to the nomination. How do you do your nomination? Because as per the let's say county assemblies or national assemblies, all I know is that the number of nominated MCAs or MPs depends on the strength of the party. And I heard you guys saying that hapa kuna cha party, so I want to know how you guys derived at 18 nominated MCAs. Because in Mombasa County, like in our first assembly that we had nominated 15 nominated MCAs. Na ili kuja sababu ODM ili scoop all the 30 wards. So ikapata hawa nominated 15 MCAs wakaingia, na pia namba ya agenda. At this time we have 12 because ODM tulipata 27. One Waipa, then the 3 remaining, one Waipa for Kenya, and then independent. So kindly explain to us how do you derive the nomination and what are the procedures you guys are looking at?
Sisi kama wabunge wa hili bunge la vijana la Mombasa, tuna historia, tumetoka mbali, tumejisacrifice kwa kujitolea kutoka kwa hatuna chochote mpaka pale ambapo mahali tumefikia kidogo, tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu. Kwa hiyo swala pia, ndugu zangu wajumbe kutoka bunge la Mombasa, sisi tunataka tuwe na ushirikiano mzuri na kila mtu ambaye yuko tayari kuhakikisha masuala ya vijana yanatekelezwa sawa sawa. Kwa hiyo sisi kama wajumbe wa Mombasa twafurahi kwa sababu the other parliament ya county tulijaribu kushirikiana nao, lakini kwa ni wakati wa mwisho tukikaa na ile committee ya fisheries na walitupokelea vizuri. Hapo ndio tulikuwa tumeanza kuinteract fully na county assembly of Mombasa. Na hii hii assembly ambayo iko hii 2017 to 2022 ni matarajio yetu, tutashirikiana na nyinyi vizuri. Tumeona huu ni mwanzo mzuri. Bwana director, kuna hii issue ya siasa. Kama mlivyosikia, hii ni bunge, kazi yake kubwa ni kunacha leadership ya mayouth. Na hapa tuwashukuru, tuwajifunza vizuri regardless of our party affiliation, kule tunaunga mkono. Na hiyo ndio spirit ambayo tuwashukuru imetukuza, kwa sababu we can interact well others from various political parties or those who are independent, na tuwashukuru. So swala la siasa lisiwatie hofu, hilo tuwashukuru, imeeleweka vizuri katika manifesto, katika objectives zetu za bunge, and we are okay with that. For those few thanks, thank you Madam Clerk.
Asante Mheshimiwa. And just to add on what was said on nominations, there are 18 slots for nomination and every sub-county gets 3. So after we have an election of the MPs in that area, they are the ones who nominate 3 people to cater for the various interests that have not been taken care of. So I invite Madam Speaker atueleze relationship ya assembly na cabinet vipi.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Before I respond to that, I would just wish to make something clear. When the Deputy Speaker was mentioning about the attacks on Facebook, we are confused, or we are always mistaken by another group called Mombasa Youth Senate. I know Civilizer and Kaka are aware that there is two different bodies. As we don't do forums on Facebook. Then they use social media to do advocacy and follow-ups, but us, we come to your offices. So there is that two difference. Don't worry that hapa waja to attack lakini baadaye wata attack Twitter. Ukiona hashtag unaona they are trying not to attack. No, there is a difference between Mombasa Youth Senate and Mombasa Youth Assembly. And in Mombasa Youth Assembly, it's the group which either tweets, it's the group name or the group accounts which does all that. So the others, it's their group and the individuals there who are commenting and responding or doing whatever they do with their accounts. But us, we are discussing all what you have seen in the structure. So I think that's clear. Usituogope, we are not the other ones, we are this one. On the question of the separation of power between the assembly, I think when the Honorable Barua was taking us through the document, he mentioned somewhere that unlike in the county assembly and the national assembly, where you find that the members of the cabinet are not in the assembly, ours are in the assembly, one, because of that aspect of the oversight role from the members of the parliament. Because the structure remained the way it is for a purpose. We wanted to offer checks and balances to the members, to the cabinet, or to the mawaziris. So what we do under the separation of power, members of the cabinet are coming to the assembly for three reasons. One, they are supposed to debate. Two, they are supposed to offer statements to show the work which they have been doing in relation to the questions which were raised or the debate which was previously tackled. And three is for the question and answers. And those are the things we use for checks and balances. That in the assembly, members of the parliament can ask them, last session when we were discussing, ABCD was raised, what have you done? And they're supposed to offer a report after every cycle. When we discuss today and we have a preliminary session today, whatever resolution will come out at the proposal, and our discussion is based on giving solutions, what we want to be implemented. So they are given that document of the resolution. They go work on it for the next 3 months. When we are coming for the next resolution, we can't start the order of the day before them providing a report of what was done. So we feel at our capacity that defines the separation of power. Because again, also their meetings are based on the work they are doing on the implementation part, while we are based on the community roles of representation, oversight, and the legislation, where the legislation becomes part of us so that we can make the laws which are governing what we are doing. The second question was asking about how our structure can correlate with the Mombasa County and see what we are doing. I would wish to give an example that in the last assembly, yes, we did involve you more, bringing you on board like now, but there are few MCAs who are willing to work with us.
Actually, Mombasa Youth Assembly, our basic foundation is the right to participate. And that is why the structure, the documents, they are all geared towards giving yule kijana nafasi ya kujieleza. And we are also happy to report that so far we have only 12 wards that we have not done our barazas. So hopefully the next 2 cycles tutakuwa tumemaliza Mombasa County yote. Sawa sawa. So let me welcome Mr. Adam to add something.
Yes, I want Madam Speaker to elaborate. Where do you take your resolution? That one.
Okay.
The second one,
Yes.
I want you to clarify if the director was asking here what are the norms which guide Mombasa Youth Assembly to ensure that you you will be seen that you are non-partisan. What are the documents? You have document, you have structure which guide the conduct of the members. They have to be seen, they are not affiliated on a specific agenda.
Okay, thank you. I'll start with the first question on the issue of the code of conduct, which does not necessarily just talk on partisan and the issues of dragging Mombasa Youth Assembly. We have a whole document which has been trained and taken to all members of Mombasa Youth Assembly, which we call Code of Conduct. It elaborates more on issues of how a member of Mombasa Youth Assembly can conduct him or herself, either in private or public, either within the premises where Mombasa Youth Assembly conducts its activity, or when you are at home. So in that document, it clearly states that no one is allowed to use Mombasa Youth Assembly for personal gain, be it using dragging the group or the organization as a vessel for you to be attracted to political parties. So as we say, if anyone could look deeply into Mombasa Youth Assembly, they'll realize that apart from the structure and the work we do, we are somehow have shown the world that we can coexist, because we have members from every political parties in Mombasa Youth Assembly, and each of them, top from the officials, top from the structure, we have members who are in different political parties. But when it comes to discuss members of Mombasa Youth Assembly, we will never realize that this is a Jubilee, this is a ODM, this is a Kadwa series, this is a Shirikisho. We are all in one platform, putting our things aside when brought together to discuss issues related to Mombasa Youth Assembly. And that stands to the document we have, the Code of Conduct, which distincts personal and organizational roles when it comes to implementation of our work. Where our resolutions taken for implementation, I will start by describing, it starts immediately when we are discussing the agendas at the plenary session. We identified through the office of the president, he is mandated to identify stakeholders related to the agenda we are discussing. So when we are discussing that agenda, first at the Youth Baraza, they are present to pick out issues, because again, we use a referral mechanism in our structure. We only have 11 issues directed to us, which are issues cut crossing what is affecting the youth. So apart from that, we don't implement, so we refer. From the Youth Baraza, we come with stakeholders, one, to offer civic education, two, to take issues for implementation. So what can be solved at the Youth Baraza is solved there. But again, when we bring things at the assembly or the house, all stakeholders on that discussion of that agenda are invited. So they will take part when we are discussing the resolutions, when we are giving the resolutions, when we are giving the examples, when we are giving the ideas, because ours is offering an alternative voice, giving out a solution of what we think cannot work. Is not working, we give a solution. So at that stage, we invite the stakeholders whom we think meet government agencies, be it mawaziris, be it whoever it is, we invite them there so that they can start familiarizing with the issues we are discussing. After that, that's where the cabinet secretaries comes in for the implementation. So if you are discussing, for example, the issue in charge of environment, or we are discussing the issue in charge of education, we will invite all stakeholders related with the issues of education. They will be there as we are discussing. We give them a chance to commit what they feel they will do. And in the last session, we have been having different CECs from the county assembly. There is a time Honorable Abbas was part of the discussion. We brought Honorable Tendai, we brought Honorable Charamba, we brought different heads of committees. We had once had a discussion with the late Honorable Sarah Nyambula. As you have been told, I'm going to take you through the second session, which is talking about the Youth Manifesto. We have been told that the Youth Manifesto went through the cycle where youth were involved from the Baraza level up to the session where it was passed. It was our motion last cycle where we discussed and debated it. We improved it after several inputs from the sessions, and now we feel we needed to include other voices from the other house so that it can be a manifesto owned by all of us, and we could work on it to reach the needs of the youth. So I will take you through it. We have hard copies, you will also be given, but kindly listen to the explanations because some have just indicated their points and it will need some explanation. So that when we have what it's saying, we will understand what it means. So the introduction part of the Youth Manifesto is a comprehensive compilation of views, aspirations, and perspectives that covers most of the youth development agenda. This was identified through a consultative process, that's the Youth Baraza, and taking back to the youth for more inputs, that involved over 10,000 youths in Mombasa County. This document is in line with the Kenya National Youth Policy, the 2010 Kenyan Constitution, and internationally agreed frameworks such as the World Programme of Action for Youth, the African Youth Charter, and the East African Community Youth Policy. Therefore, it is envisioned to form a basis for engagement in addressing the core challenges facing the youth in a bipartisan approach. Mombasa Youth Manifesto. The Mombasa Youth Manifesto is a youth-led response to the needs for comprehensive and coordinated work to address critical issues affecting the youth. On the one hand, the Youth Manifesto serves as an advocacy document, and I guess that's why we are here today with the youthful MCAs from the Mombasa County. Advocacy documents for Mombasa Youth Assembly to work together with one voice to lobby for more attention to youth issues at all levels. On the other hand, it is an innovation which goes a step further by providing concrete alternative policy options for decision makers and our representatives in Mombasa County. The ultimate goal for Mombasa Youth Assembly is to have a more inclusive public policy decision-making process in Mombasa County. As I've said, the document was prepared late before elections. It's the one which was passed on July this year. So some things which were mentioned here might have been in plans of those who were elected, might have been in plans of the things to be discussed in the assembly. So why we are taking you through this is for you to be keen on what we intend to do or what we are aspiring to be done to the youth, so that if in case there is something which is in your plans, which is in Mombasa Vision 2035, which we might not be aware, which might be in one of the motions we have discussed recently, you can point out so that we have a document which all of us understand where it's coming from. It's discussing about 4 issues. When it came from public participation, it had almost 11 issues. But we say 11 are very many. We can't tackle them the period we have, so we prioritize to 4 issues, which I'm going to take you through. The first issue is education. Where education, we are saying Mombasa County suffers from high dropout level, low awareness on the importance of TVT, where TVT are what are the TVT? What are the TVTs? Requests, we just note them so that when we are done, because I know there are others who had questions up there that they were not given an opportunity to exhaust. My time will be limited. So you just write it down, then we'll have a plenary time where we will get all the inputs. I hope I don't care if you will just respond. So the other part we were talking about on issues of empowerment and regulation was on the special rates on youth business, where we were proposing that the county should mark out all youth-run businesses and exempt the youth from paying rates, especially for the startup business, for at least a period of 6 months before inception. We were saying that for the youth to survive in this business, it's very difficult because the rates, for example, if someone is supposed to pay to run an M-Pesa business in Mombasa County, it becomes very, very difficult. How can the county intervene and ensure that the youth are also exploring the business world? We were proposing that they should not outrun business by the youth and exempt the youth from paying rent, especially for startup business. If you have any question, kindly just write, and then we will explore more on the plan. The county should also sensitize the youth on the existing special rates and licenses. So there is that one of the same. The next one was supposed to be sensitized on the available existing special rates and the licenses, which are there and might not be known by the youth. The third issue which we were discussing about was the health. They were saying Mombasa County has witnessed an increase in the number of youths abusing drugs, insufficient youth-friendly health facilities, poor environment and sanitation.
That is the end. So katika kutafuta njia au kutafuta nafasi ya kupatikana hizi landing sites, ni pia sisi tukae tuangalie njia mbadala ni gani, kwa sababu kuna zile ambazo zimeenda kabisa na hatuwezi zirudisha. So kuongezea hapo pia ni katika kuomba hili bunge letu hapa, wabunge sisi wa County Assembly, wabunge sisi vijana, pia kutambua uvuvi ni kama ni kazi, ni kama mambo mengine. La kusikitisha zaidi ni pale inaposherekewa Youth Day. Wakuta wanaoenda pale ni vijana ma artist peke yake. Lakini kuna wavuvi ambao pia wao wanapowasherekea cause ni siku yao ni vijana, lakini ni jambo halionekani. Kisha kuongezea na hiyo point pia kuhusu vijana kupatiwa ujuzi. Nikizungumzia kuhusu BMU si uvuvi peke yake. BMU ni mwenye kutengeneza boti, BMU ni mwenye kurekebisha boti, yahusiana na mambo mengi. So it's time pia county iangalie njia gani wale vijana ambao wako pale, kijana yuko pale, boti imeharibika, wamekaa hakuna kazi. Ni njia gani wale vijana watachukuliwa wasaidike, waende wakasome, kama ni mambo na carpentry, kama ni mambo na welding. At least wale vijana wakirudi pale wanatoa service. Because sasa hiyo on the ground boti ikiharibika ni mpaka achukuliwe mtu kutoka Lamu au Malindi ndio aje atengeneze. La sivyo vijana wanakaa na sisi ndio tunasoma hivi. Sasa
members of the County Assembly of Mombasa. Okay, hoja ambayo imekuwa raised is valid, but then I also want to clarify. When the regulation was brought up to regulate beach management units, it is stated very clear roles and mandates of those beach management units. So beach management unit is not equal to a beach. When that beach has been grabbed, therefore it dies off. No, inaeleza maeneo ya kutosha katika jurisdiction zake za kutekeleza ile kazi, lakini swala ambalo kwamba limeletwa, nafikiri waheshimiwa wale ambao wamo ndani ya committee ya fisheries na other committees, I think hili ni swala ambalo pia His Excellency Governor has been head on. I don't want to preempt some information here regarding to the leadership of the previous CC members and others, but Governor has always been associated with the rights of the people on the ground. Na nafikiri ni swala ambalo yeye mwenyewe pia mpaka dakika hii anang'ang'ana nalo. He's been on record that he's been at head on with the national government over compensation ya wavuvi. Kwa hiyo mimi nilikuwa nataka kusema hivi, as members of Mombasa Youth Assembly, as you are getting down to pick the nitty-gritty of what is affecting that particular sector, let us be seen to be assisting the county government of Mombasa in realizing the rights of those people on the ground, instead of being seen taking position to encounter the county government of Mombasa. Sote hapa tunaelewa kwanza Mombasa inajulikana kuwa ni serikali ambayo composed of opposition, and you don't expect much coming from the Jubilee side, yeah, favoring our county government. Therefore, let us be seen taking the relevant information, liaising with the relevant committees, so that now we see the way forward in realizing these issues ambazo zina affect baba zetu, kwa sababu at the end of the day ni wavuvi wanaishilia kusomesha, ni wavuvi wanaishilia kutekeleza maisha yao day to day. Rai yangu narudi tena, Mombasa Youth Assembly, as you are picking up those information, the nitty-gritty on the ground, muzilete tuone with the members of the county assembly who have the powers. They have the mandate, they have the powers even to summon. Tuweze kutumia fursa hii tukiwork very closely na MCAs katika zile relevant committees, tuweze kusaidia wananchi wetu.
Thank you. Tunaenda tukifinalize hii section ya mchango katika manifesto, so let me not block your opinion. So we will start na Barua kwa sababu anaongezea kwa uvuvi.
Allow me to stand. Honorable members, Ochocho. First one resist. Looking at this manifesto, I'm seeing an opportunity for honorable members to start thinking of how they can develop a policy document and influence the county government of Mombasa. For example, if you look under the section of empowerment and wealth creation, we identified one of the challenges being lack of a training center for the fisher training centers. It is very sad, as much as we are counting the blue economy, but we still need to train our youth in Dar es Salaam. Unasikia wapemba wamekuja kwetu wameshika samaki wengi, people that they're thinking that the Pemba people are using usual to fish. But just because these people that trained on the basic principle of fishing, wanashika samaki wengi, alafu kwa tunalaumu atushiki samaki. So, honorable members, I think you can take that point and say that there's need for us to establish a fishing training center so that we can empower our own youth so that they can also venture into the fishing industry. Another policy ambayo tunatakana tufikirie kwa sasa, kwa sababu I know the director is so much informed about the sector fisheries, ni kwamba it is a multi-billion sector, but still it is generating very little resources for our county. Why? Kwa sababu imeashwa tu ni sekta ya wazee. Hata leo ukienda huko bandarini utaona yule mzee tangu miaka hiyo akienda barini ni huyo tu, wale vijana wengine wanakataa. But if you go to Spain, the richest part of Spain ni wale ambao wamekuwa wavuvi. So we need to inculcate that culture that even fisheries can become one of the sectors for wealth creation. So hiyo policy mnaweza pia mka design ili tuone ni vipi. Another policy, kwa sababu utaulizwa after 5 years you as a member of county assembly umefanya nini katika bunge, na it is only based on the number of discussion on the policy that you present that determine whether you are useful to the development of the county or wale wa kukaa. I'm also suggesting that one of you can pick develop a policy issue on the revolving fund. We know we have the Mombasa County revolving fund, but specifically if you can address the issues of agriculture and the blue economy, I think we can now change the perception, because when you go to the ground, mtu hata kununua mashine ya boat ya 15 horsepower becomes a challenge, kwa sababu anasema akienda banki anaambiwa fishing is a very dangerous venture, it's a risk business, so they know we can access funding. Sasa tu wanabaki vile kila siku wanapiga pondo, and technology may change. Why don't we empower these people? Maybe it's only something that needs 100,000 and by power as a startup capital, lakini anashindwa because we don't have funds allocated for such kind of investment. So we also need to pick that one. Na ilikuwa ni uzuri wale waheshimiwa wenzetu ambao wako hapa wachukue initiative kwamba we are going to
nimefuatilia kile kitu kwa sababu nimeona kitu inajirudia kila mara. hata nimesikia baadhi ya waheshimiwa akasema hii youth manifesto yenu, hii youth manifesto yenu. Hii document tumeiita Mombasa Youth Manifesto, na tukiangalia kule juu ya kwamba tumeweza kuinvolve zaidi ya vijana 10,000 katika kaunti yetu hii ya Mombasa kupitia zile youth barazas na forums ambazo tumezifanya. Na sababu kubwa ya kuwa nanyi hapa hii siku ya leo ni kwamba tunataka tuweze, kwa sababu sisi tumefikiria hichi ni kile kiwango kidogo ambacho sisi tumefikiria tumefikia hapa. So ilikuwa tunaomba kwamba zile input zenu zaidi zikiingia kwa hii document na muweze kuichukua kwa niaba ya vijana wa kaunti ya Mombasa, kwa sababu sisi kuna pale mahali ambapo tunaweza kufika lakini kuna mahali ambapo tunajivunia nako kwa sahihi katika kaunti ya Mombasa, ya kwamba tulikuwa tunajua tuko na vijana 16 ndani ya kaunti ya Mombasa, lakini jana nafikiri darubini imepigwa zaidi ikapatikana ni 13. Kwa hivyo tunajivunia ya kwamba mko pale ndani. Iwapo hizi hoja hizi na 15, kwa hivyo hizi hoja iwapo mtazichukua na kuziingiza kule ndani na kuzibeba, ina maana kwamba tutakuwa tumeachieve kwa 1,000% katika utekelezaji wa yale matakwa ambayo tuko nayo. Na tukiwa Mombasa Youth Assembly na nikiwa mnenaji mkuu wa Mombasa Youth Assembly, jukumu letu sisi huwa si kuponda. Hatuna historia ya kuingilia department yoyote. Hatuna historia ya kumwingililia kiongozi yoyote. Kile kitu ambacho sisi tunafanya vitu kama hivi. Tunapogundua tatizo, tunaligeuza lile tatizo kupitia iwe opportunity. Maana ukiangalia hii kuanzia education, kwa katika ukiangalia empowerment and wealth creation, utakuta kwamba tumestate ile problem lakini zile resolution ambazo zimeweka ni opportunity kwa vijana wetu wa kaunti ya Mombasa. Ikiwa tutaweza kuchukua hii document na kuon yale ule ujana wetu ambao tukaubeba vilivyo, tunaamini ya kwamba tutaweka historia katika kaunti ya Mombasa tutakapofikia 2022. Tutaweka historia kwa sababu tumejaribu katika assembly ambayo imepita, lakini ni kwamba ule ujana ndani ulikuwa una mapungufu, tulikuwa ni kidogo sana. Lakini sasa tunajivunia kwa hii namba ambayo tukiongeza na akina mama zetu, tuko na akina mama zetu, akina mama mwaka kule ndani kuwa convince akina mama si ni rahisi kwa chapa box kulingana na hoja zetu. Tuko na akina baba zetu ndani kule, akina Mohamed Hatu ambaye pia sisi yuatulea kwa njia moja ama nyingine, tukiwa convince na hoja gani ambayo ya kijana tutaitia itaweza kuanguka Kwa hivyo kile kitu ambacho tunataka tukichukue, hususan mheshimiwa wangu wa Chuda tunataka tuondoe kwamba nyinyi Mombasa Youth Assembly ni ile, unajua bado ile trust naiona upande wake iko down tunataka tuweze kuondoa ule uhofu ambao tuko nao. Tunahitaji tutumike sisi tuwe watumwa wenu wa kusearch information na kutoa resolution, kazi yenu iwe rahisi kwenye implementation tutumie sisi, kwa sababu sisi twashuka. Labda wewe utakuwa na hofu ukishuka mashinani utaomba lakini tutumie sisi, tuite watu, na kuna maneno tunajua ya kwamba kuturu mheshimiwa wewe huwezi kuambia, kwa sababu tumegundua viongozi wengi wanakimbia maeneo kwa sababu ya demand. Sisi tunataka kutekeleza haya, lakini tunajua kati ya vijana sisi wengine tunataka tuchotewe, mheshimiwa hatujaamka, mheshimiwa tuna shida ABCD. Haya ni mambo ambayo yako lakini sisi focus yetu ni haya. Sasa wewe kuna maneno huwezi kuambia watu, lakini sisi as an institution tunaweza kuzungumza kwamba jukumu la Hamis Nyundo si la kutoa kitu kidogo. Jukumu la Hamis Nyundo ni ku-underline problems ambazo tuko nazo, ili aweze kuwa mwepesi kuziingia na kuzipigania ndani ya county. At least zikishapita tunajua implementation yake itakuwa kuna urahisi, na ndivyo tutakuwa tunaienua kaunti yetu ya Mombasa. Katika swala la takataka tumeona watu wengi wamecomplain, wakisema lakini unapoilaumu Mombasa County, hata wewe ni mmoja. Unapomnyoosha mwenzako kidole, vingapi vinakuelekea? Vinne. Sisi tumeona hiyo ni opportunity kwetu kama vijana. Iwapo kutackle hii ikiwa itajibeba na ipitisho ya kwamba katika kila sehemu basi kuandikwe vijana kadhaa ambao takuwa katika kila nyumba wanapita wakichukua hizi takataka wakizeka katika center ambao gari itakuja kuchukua, yule kijana atakuwa tumempa kazi ama hatujampa? Kwa sababu sasa hivi tumeona ndani ya kaunti ya Mombasa tuko na shida ya nafasi za kazi. Kwa hivyo tunafikiria zaidi ili tutafute hizo opportunity za yule kijana apate ajira, angalau hiyo tonge tuweze kuitia mdomoni. So kwa hivyo kile kitu naomba nikiwa rais wa Mombasa Youth Assembly ya kwamba tuondoe uoga kati ya MCAs wa County Assembly na sisi Mombasa Youth Assembly ili tuweze kuboresha utendaji kazi wetu na tuweze kuenua mahitaji yetu ya kaunti ya Mombasa ili tuwe kaunti bora katika kaunti zile nyingine zote tulizonazo Kenya nzima. Tunajivunia, ikiwa sisi tunajivunia na nyinyi, kwa nini nyinyi msijivunie na sisi? Asanteni.
At hand, you need to make sure that you have adequate planning, and the planning that whatever you are to decide before, it has to be either in short or medium or long term, because sometimes you have the immediate needs which needs a short term program, short term planning for you to meet your needs. Then you have those which have long terms. You need to plan them on a long term strategy. So the process of arriving at these priorities should be one that fully incorporates meaningful public participation. You know that public participation is a constitutional matter. It is a constitutional matter. And the reason why the Constitution of Kenya envisaged or brought about the issue of public participation, it's because of the public resources that we are entitled to manage those public resources. And for that fact, you have to get the will of the people. And it is that at that level of public participation where you get the will of the people. Now, all plans are to be generated by the county executive with the approval of county assembly. Without county assembly, there's nothing like an approval. So the county executive, they entirely depend on the wisdom and the will of the people who are being represented at the county assembly level. Therefore, I'll just briefly talk about which of these plans we should know as members of the county assembly. So the county planning framework is organized into 4 types of plans, namely the Integrated County Development Plan. This is the CIDP. We also have county sectoral plans. We also have spatial plans, and also we have the cities and urban area plans as provided in the Urban Area Cities Act. You know that with the setup of the county government, these cities, these urban areas, they are also enacted in one of the Act of Parliament, and in some other counties, like for instance in Nairobi, you might be shocked that they have this kind of a setup where they have the town manager, they have. So in Mombasa, I'm aware His Excellency Governor Joe soon will be coming up with that structure, because the need of the people who are within the island is different from those who are staying in the suburbs or in the adjacent areas like Likoni, like Changamwe, and they have different undertakings. So we usually have cities and urban area plans. Now, the 5th one is the County Performance Plan as provided in Section 47 of the County Government Act 2012. And the plan are to be developed at the county, urban area, cities, and other decentralized units. And the county planning is to be facilitated by the county planning unit.
there is supposed to be a county planning unit within the county government that undertakes all these plans. I think you've heard of the Gate City plan of Mombasa. Have you heard of it? This was because of the county planning unit, which was overseeing all these plans. Now, plans to be developed by the county government. One, the county integrated development plan. There shall be a 5-year county integrated development plan for each county, which shall have clear goals and objectives. An implementation plan with clear outcomes, provision for monitoring and evaluation, and clear reporting mechanism. Any person who gets into office, like you, Mheshimiwa, as a honorable member of a particular ward, before you got into that office, you are having your manifesto, which you went around campaigning. Nitawajengea hivi, nitawafanyia hivi, ama sivyo. Now you are in the office. The first thing that comes into your head is, for these 5 years, kitu gani mimi nitaacha kama legacy? Ama kitu ambacho watu wataweza kunitambua kwa nimewafanyia. So with the county government, we know the period is 5 years. So what it does, it comes up with a broad plan of 5 years, and within it, that's when we have small plans. Affords county governments an opportunity to empower citizens on their operations and deliberate, debate, and influence the allocation of public resources. There's always one statement I always say, that when you empower people, you disempower, or when you empower a person, you disempower another person. I know it's a confusing statement. When you empower a person, you disempower another person. Let's take a situation where people have been exploited by one person because of their ignorance. And those people, by virtue of Mr. Mlingo comes in and he starts educating them over their rights on certain issues that they are being overexploited. Would that person who usually exploits them continue exploiting them? He will cease from further exploiting that particular community. That's why we are saying, when you empower a person, you disempower another person at the same time. So that person ceases from continuing exploiting those people because of their ignorance. So the essence of public participation is all about empowerment over their government on the service delivery. Mimi ndio nilipa tax. Vipi wewe unakuwa sasa unataka kunifanyia mambo kinyume cha vile ambavyo mimi naelewa? Therefore, the public will take on government head on over their particular rights. Though nimesikia at one point or another, waheshimiwa wangu they are fighting for their rights. It's because now they are empowered. Somehow, somewhere, somebody who was further exploiting them ceases because of their position now they are in. If done correctly, the participation can greatly improve county government performance, since it strengthens social equity outcomes for disadvantaged groups, helps reduce government inefficiencies, and makes it more responsive to citizen needs and preference. A government is highly rated when it responds to the need of its citizen. A government is lowly or is low rated when it is not responding to its citizens' needs. There's a difference there. Government ile ambayo inapata heshima kubwa ni ile ambayo kwamba inakwenda kulingana na matakwa ya wananchi wake. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Government ambayo kwamba inakwenda ndivyo sivyo, haijali maslahi ya wananchi wake, inakuwa na heshima kweli? So public participation usually improves that relationship between it and its government, and the government performance is always highly rated. So a public participation provides a roadmap for implementing participation at devolved level, subsequently improving its quality. And the quality participation can eliminate or minimize risk often associated with devolution. We know there are so many risks involved in the devolution, and it can only be minimized when we have meaningful public participations. So we have a few risks associated. We have capacity constraints. We have competition over balance of power between levels of government. We have weak information flow where practices such as advertisement excludes critical mass of citizens, not private to chosen. So we have some risks involved. And other common risks include growth of social, economic enclaves and deepened inequalities. Wengine watakuwa matajiri, wengine watakuwa ni maskini, wengine watakuwa wako ahead of others. That inequality will not be witnessed. So there are two major processes that require citizen engagement: the CIDP and the budget proposals. Processes. Because now I've been talking all this, but the essence is to introduce the CIDP and the budget process. This presentation outlines the key phases of CIDP process in which public participation should be considered and propose methods for effectively engaging the citizens. So participation in developing county integrated development plan, participation in developing it. Now, the CIDP provides an overall coordinated framework for development. That one, no doubt about it. As provided for in the legislative framework, each county is expected to provide a platform for unifying planning, budgeting, financing programs, implementation and performance review. Section 104 of the County Government Act that stipulates as follows: a county government shall plan for the county and no funds shall be appropriated without a planning framework developed by CEC and a CEC committee, a county executive committee, and approved by the county assembly. No funds should be spent without the approval of
the county assembly.
You are the backbone of everything. Are we together?
Yes.
The county executive thus prepares a 5-year CIDP which outlines the broad development priorities and programs and integrates the economic, physical, social, environmental, and spatial planning. CIDP therefore should be aligned to the national vision, but Mombasa has its vision,
2035.
Vision 2035, which to some extent picked the aspiration of Vision 2030 of the national. Because that is the law, that none of the CIDP can go outside that national vision of 2030. Otherwise, if it will be dictated when it is being submitted to the national treasury, if it will be dictated that it is lacking the aspiration of National Vision 2030, no funds will be released. Because that Vision 2030 was approved and passed by the Parliament. And there is a commitment to some extent. Because that is the direction of the national, the entire country, per se. But again, Mombasa has its own, which is also within the aspiration of Vision, the National Vision 2030. And the medium-term plan, and that's linked to the medium-term expenditure framework budgeting ceiling for each sector. What is an MTF, medium-term expenditure framework? What is it all about? I'll just give an example. If today we have, like now we are in which month? December.
Yes.
2017. So the financial year is financial year 2017-2018 financial year. And every financial year has how many months? 12 months. So when we talk of medium-term expenditure framework, we talk of quarterly. Every 3 months, you come up with a small budget plan for you to spend, like for instance, from the month of July, August, September. And then we have another plan, October, November, December. Then we have another medium-term MTF. So you have, in the end, you have how many? Plan. Meeting with NGOs may be very helpful in addressing thematic issues in their areas of specialization such as health, water and sanitation. Ziko NGOs nyingi ambazo kwamba zimebobea in particular sectors. Tafadhalini, when we go down during the CIDP, to ignore, because these people have been in touch with people in particular sector and therefore wametengeza data za kutosha. Tumeelewana? If Mombasa Youth Assembly katika nyanda fulani mumebobea tangu mwanze, mumekuwa mara kwa mara muna engage in that particular sector, the county government of Mombasa should not ignore people like you. You should be brought on board na muweze kutoa lile ambalo kwamba mumebobea nalo na mko na ufahamu nalo. For instance, Plan International, when it comes to issues za watoto, nutrition, hawa kuna data ya miaka almost 30 years. Ni watu mtawa ignore? Hamwezi kwa ignore. Shirika gani ambalo kwamba liko mashinani tena ambalo limebobea? Let's say kama Kenya Red Cross, when it comes to emergency issues, mtawa ignore kweli? Mkiwa ignore, you are ignoring them at your own peril, because hao ni watu wataweza kuambia no, kutokana na data ambazo tuko nazo kuhusiana na majanga yanayotokea, kama ni moto, kama ni nini, we are supposed to have A, B, C, D. So maybe the county government wants to come up with a disaster management unit, county disaster management unit. Sometimes we need to reach out people like Kenya Red Cross na kuwauliza, jamaa, hebu tusaidieni, we want to come up with this unit so that isaidie wananchi kwa kutosha. So phase 3 is strategy setting. During this phase, the county proposed its vision, defines development objectives in clear statement to deal with problems identified and strategies to achieve the objectives. This may be conducted during a one-day forum, bringing together experts, citizen representatives, NGOs, citizen representatives like Mombasa Youth Assembly, professional associations, and other key stakeholders. Usually, kunakuwa na mkutano mkubwa ambao saa nyingine governor mwenyewe huwa governor shaye kumuona katika hiyo mikutano na mawaziri wake na watu wameandikwa tofauti. In that forum, hata kama hamjaalikwa kama Mombasa Youth Assembly, jipelekeni, kwa sababu na nyinyi pia muna something to contribute towards the CIDP. Are we together? Yes. Wajua saa zingine kama hujakaribishwa, usiseme wangoje kukaribishwa bwana. Pengine by virtue of yule mwenye kuwa atoe barua za mialiko alisema hawa mpaka mimi waonyeshe hawa na akawapatia blackout. Mnajua? Of course. And in most cases utapata governor hajui hilo. Lakini wale ambao kwamba wapikaji chai, ndo ujifanya wao wataamua kama Mombasa Youth Assembly ije au isije. So sometimes an opportunity like this in a one-day forum, musiseme kuwa hamujaalikwa, because at the end of the day it is your views that the governor wants to pick as county executive committee. They want to pick and furnish them to the county assembly for approval. So under this strategy setting, this first leads to the identification of specific projects to achieve the objectives. And the county may also consider encouraging institutions or community-based groups to present projects or programs proposal which can be included in the CIDP through prioritization process. Nafikiri usubuhi tuliona Mombasa Youth Assembly ikitupatia manifesto, na nafikiri mmeona pia reaction ya waheshimiwa ambao kwamba imewatouch ama imetouch zile relevant committees. Nafikiri hata ulimsikia mheshimiwa Aran ambaye ndio chair wa vijana wa youth amesoma akasoma, mkamgusa roho yake, akasema yes, this is what has been lacking, na sisi tukitoka hapa tutahakikisha kwa tumekwenda kufanya hivyo. So when these stakeholders are well involved, that is when now you end up coming up with the right projects touching the right or giving the right solutions to the problems. Lastly, phase 4 is the projects, and the county will work on design and the contents of projects identified in phase 3, and the project subcommittees or working groups are established, and the citizen representatives can sit in this. Citizen representatives, pengine watu wamekuwa wamechukuliwa maoni yao kutoka huku chini na hawajaachwa wakaambiwa tosha, wakaendelea up to the project level, and that is why unaona county projects zote governor ambazo kwamba yuwajenga even barabara ya mtaani governor huwa wanaweka project committee. Ni kweli ama si kweli? The reason why it's because ni lazima watu wenyewe ambao kwamba immediately watafaidika na zile projects za county wakuwe na say. That is the essence. It will be ideal that the working group be aligned to sectors. Clear details are worked out in terms of who will benefit from projects and the cost of projects and how it will be funded, the project's duration, mode of execution, and overall management of the project. And lastly, phase 5 is the last phase for CIDP document. Once all projects have been identified, the county executive will verify that they contribute to the meeting the objectives outlined in phase 3, and the projects will provide an overall picture of the development plan, and the executive will ensure that the plan is in harmony with overall national level and sector plans. For the approval, phase 6, the CIDP is presented to the county assembly, which adopts a draft CIDP for public comment. Again, at the county level, county assembly level, inarudishwa tena kwa public participation. Wanairudisha kwa sababu kuna uwezekano labda executive walifanya mambo wakasema haya ndio maoni ya wananchi. So because the county assembly has been elected, they are representing the people. They take it back na kuwauliza, je, hii kweli mulipitisha? Tulipitisha. Hii je, tulipitisha. Then the moment na mumetosheka hivi ilivyo. Si tulisema hapo papunguzwe choo ijengwe. So zile amendments, hizo corrections kidogo, hizo reviews zinarudi ndo watu wanapitisha. So which adopts a draft CIDP for public comment before approving a final CIDP. And the moment the county assembly approves the CIDP, now it becomes a public document. And it is owned by everyone, not the county government and not county assembly. Everyone, because it is people's document. With those few remarks, for these two, pengine ningetaka kuwe na maswali, and then yeah.
Thank you very much. Let us appreciate Bwana Director once more. We understand it's not an easy task to teach another class in the afternoon, but I think he has done a good job. So as at now, we'll take questions, any reactions that you may have to the presentation that he has made. Yes, Bwana.
If the county government co-opts the project of other institutions, I want to give a very live example. There's the WASH project that was being implemented in some of the schools. You realize that you go to a school, you find a very nice toilet, but the classroom are one team. So at what level are you able to co-opt other development partners in terms of ensuring that they fall within the CIDP that has been designed by the county? So, or what is those kind of issues?
18 of the County Government Act, County Government Act, and the standing orders, Section 15 and Section 88 of the County Government Act, and the standing order 194, 195, it goes. In fact, the standing orders of the County Assembly of Mombasa, Part 22, starting from standing order 194, it talks about petitions, public petitions, because we have different petitions within our standing orders. But the one that talks about public petitions is in this particular standing order. Standing order 194 of the County Assembly of Mombasa states that citizens have a right to petition the County Assembly to consider any matter within its authority, including enacting, amending, or repealing of any of its legislation. The public may petition on issues affecting a group of people through village committees, ward, sub-county, and county committees. Therefore, a county government should indicate the manner and form in which a petition may be done. For the county assembly, already our standing orders have provided the forms, the format of how petitions should be presented. When those petitions fall outside the format, the prescribed format within the county standing orders of the County Assembly of Mombasa, the clerk has a right to reject. When that format has been followed to the letter for one to present petition to the County Assembly, then the clerk within a stipulated period, a period of 7 days, on receipt of this petition, he is supposed to forward the same to the speaker, and the speaker will make it, will present it in the house. During the speaker's communication, he will communicate and lodge it in the house, produce it in the house. Tumeelewana? So the standard format is found in the standing orders of the County Assembly of Mombasa in the third schedule of our standing orders, where we have the general form of public petition. And the information that the petition may include, let me tell you, our standing orders has adequate in relation to the petition to be made by the public. But I also came across a whole bill which was being developed for public petitions to be developed. More or less zinafanana. But general criteria for it, it needs to be addressed to the county executive or the county assembly. For a case of county assembly, you address it to the clerk. Tumeelewana? And have its subject matter indicated on every sheet if it consists of more than one sheet. You need to be precise. Your subject matter needs to come out on every sheet, needs to be very clear, or else you'll miss the game. And when you miss the game, you are the loser. On technicality, it will be thrown out of the window. On technicalities. When you hear people talking of something has been rejected on technicalities, it's either because of the body or the shape or the format, whatever was being, or certain areas were not followed to the letter for it to be allowed. See,
I'm the CS for Justice. Today I will do a quick recap of what was discussed yesterday. To start us off, we had the pleasure of having Honorable Raphael Bwire take us through the overview of Mombasa Youth Assembly, the profile, the organogram, the policy sample, and we got to understand how everything works from the office of the president all the way down to the village representatives. We also tackled the Youth Manifesto, and we were able to understand various issues regarding our MYA, such issues pertaining to public participation, public our attendance in public galleries, the structure of MYA, among other things. We were also honored to be taken through the budget making process, though in brief, by Mr. Rashid Kaka, as well as the CIDP process. And it is my pleasure to state that so far we've understood how the CIDP process works. Mr. Rashid, thank you for that. As well as the budget making process. So for today, I'm informed that Mr. Rashid Kaka is supposed to continue the budget making process.
Yeah, but I will need just 10 minutes, 15 minutes to transfer the document. Because I came across crucial information that will add value to this presentation.
Okay.
Just one.
Okay, no problem.
So maybe we can just continue with the program briefly.
Maybe we can have a discussion as we wait for you, because
just 10 minutes.
Any questions, any inputs?
Habari ya asubuhi. Kusema kweli mimi nimesikiza kwa makini na ningependa kukubaliana na naibu wangu Mheshimiwa Samba kwamba lazima tutilie maanani all the discussions yenye tumeongelea hapa. But I think hiyo itakuja kama way forward. So nataka at least ndio way forward. But all in all, nafikiri vile ametoa mwelekeo ni mzuri kwamba tutapata team, maybe a team of 3, 4, 5 kutoka kwa MYA. Na already mimi niko na committee yangu ya youth yenye na comprise of around 11 MCAs. So hiyo team tukikaa nayo plus maklub wetu kama around 15. Na vile nilisema tutakaa very soon actually. So hatutaki tuongee alafu iishi tu hapa. Hii siku mbili siku tatu tumekaa hapa. Being the first meeting tumekuwa nayo lazima ikuwe success na ibe effort. So we need to add tutakutana committee yangu to arrange. Then from there tutaenda paper kwa executive. Because one thing mimi baada ya kuwa nominated, I promised myself and I promised those who know me well kwamba lazima we make a difference. Na hii difference ikifika at the end of my term 5 years, lazima vijana wa Mombasa waongee na lugha moja regardless of the political affiliation. Ikifika siasa uzapiga siasa, wewe uko Jubilee, uko ODM, uko Wiper, lakini agenda ya kijana yule yuko Moroto Chuda, agenda ya kijana yule yuko Mjambere, mwenye yuko Likoni Tongwe ni moja tu. Vijana lazima wataka at least empowerment, wataka education, wataka at least life yao iko improve regardless of the political affiliation. Si kijana ODM atakati, kuna kitu kijana ODM anataka kuliko yule kijana wa Jubilee. Ukienda pale stage pale Kongowea, wale manamba hakuna cha sijui ni wapi na wapi. Shida zao ni zile zile. Kwa hivyo I know this is a very fruitful meeting to us. Na mimi nawashukuru sana. Na vile nilisema kuna ile perception yenye imekuwa changed. Kwa sababu tulikuwa na ile wrong perception. Na sasa at least tumekaa chini tumejuana. And what I can promise you guys, we're going to deliver for the youth of Mombasa. And the credit will go kwetu sisi wote mtu mmoja civilizers MYA, but the credit itaenda kwa wale vijana kutoka nyuma yetu. Sisi sasa at least tuko kwa ile stage ya senior youth. Sidhani kama kuna mtu kwa below 18 hapo. Kuna wale vijana wanakuja wanainukia wako 16 15. Wale vijana they are looking upon us. So kama tutakuwa tuko divided kwa sababu ya siasa, then tutakuwa tumefail Mombasa County. And I'm not ready to fail the youth of Mombasa County.
2018. But just know that the 2018-2019 has already started. This is what I'm trying to say. That within the year that you're already in that budget cycle which is now being executed, already another budget cycle process for another subsequent year has already started or is in the process of being formulated. So stakeholders engagement should be factored throughout the 4 phases: budget formulation, budget approval, budget execution, and budget auditing. At every level, public, they need to be engaged in one way or another. Why? Yesterday I emphasized in Kasema, it's because it is the public fund that is at stake, and therefore the public needs to be engaged to, everything is above the board. There should be nothing that should be operating under the table. And that is why the public engagement is a critical component in the entire budget cycle. Because it is their money, it is their resources which is being spent, and therefore it should be spent with the knowledge of what is happening. Are we all in the picture? Now, this is just a brief of the 4 phases. The budget formulation, this is where the executive formulates the draft budget, and then we have the budget approval, where the legislature review, amends the budget, and then enacts it into law. And then we have the budget execution. The executive collects revenue, spend money as per allocation made in the budget law. And then we have that oversight, budget oversight. The budget accounts are audited, and audit findings are reviewed by the legislature, which requires action to be taken by the executive to correct the audit findings. One thing I want to differentiate here is not everything that is budgeted will be allocated and spent according to the budget. I want you to leave this room just to know that budgets are proposals. They are proposals, and therefore they stand to be financed 100%, they stand to be financed less, depending on the cash flow from the revenue, how the revenue collection and how the cash is coming from the exchequer in Nairobi. So that is a critical factor that will determine whether the budget will be 100% or will be under absorption rate. This is also another good picture showing the budget cycle with other key players. You can see we have the budget preparation, we have the budget approval, we have the budget execution, and also we have the auditing and evaluation. Now, phase 1, the budget formulation process. Here, the budget cycle begins with the release of budget circular and calendar. Who issue budget circulars? it is the CEC finance. Kuna communication, barua zinatoka to the county assembly, to all departments, ya kuwa jamaa, hebu tuanzeni sasa kufikiria swala la budget ya mwaka unaokuja. So around this period we usually receive circulars emphasizing the issue of budget kwa ianze kuangaliwa. Now, this was just the documents that we'll be discussing briefly at one point or another, like the CIDP, like the budget review outlook paper, and the county fiscal strategy paper. That's a very crucial document because this one guides the formation of the budget for the coming financial year. It's a very critical document. And it looks at projected revenue and expenditure and what the proportion of budget, county budget will be allocated in each year. And the reason why I've also indicated the CIDP, you remember yesterday, tulisema out of it, we get what we call ADP. Now, mechanism for public participation on that issue on behalf of the public civil society can participate through department working group. There are those department working groups which are already there. Civil societies can participate na wanaweza kupeleka pia hoja zao. So within that charter, it says the guidelines and the schedule for preparation of budget by the county departments, and the circular also contains guidelines and details of how the public can participate in the budget for formulation. Now, the crucial component is that the citizen can participate in the formulation process through the county budget and economic forum, and a forum organized by the administrators at the sub-county, ward and village levels. Huko. Because hiyo circular CEC akitoa ndani yake iko na instruction ya kuwa baraza zianze ili watu watoe maoni yao from the word go under that section of the law. States very clear. Now, the budget formulation continues on 1st of September. Preparation and tabling of annual development plan to the county assembly for approval. Baada maoni yashakusanywa yanakuja huku kwa county assembly, because even county assembly by then pia nao wanajaribu kuangalia na kuanza kuiangalia na kudiscuss punguza hapa punguza pale, kwa sababu budget itself is being also guided by some other sections of the law. Ukiangalia CRA, Commission for Revenue allocation, imetoa certain percentages ama certain seals that ile budget haiwezi kupita. So what the county assembly does, wakati ikiletwa ile inaangalia vis-a-vis hizi ceilings ambazo kwamba CRA pia nayo imeweka. Now, the CEC around that 1st of September submits the development plan to the county assembly for approval and copy of the plan to CRA and National Treasury. Within 7 days of submission to the county assembly, the CEC must publish and publicize the plan. That one again is also being guided by section 126 subsection 3 of the PFM Act. Again, the timeline continues 30th of September. Na ujue 30th of September ndio ule wakati sisi tunang'ang'ana. Tukiwa ndani ya NASA tunasema resist. Huku wazee huku sheria haijui kama kuna resist, kuna jubilee, kuna presidential election. The timelines have to be followed. The law has to be followed to the letter. So around that period, the county treasury prepares and submits budget review and outlook paper to the CEC. The CEC must review and approve it within 14 days of submission. Within 7 days of approval by the CEC, the city will arrange for the paper to be laid before the county assembly and subsequently publish and publicize the paper. Everything is in the section 118, 1, 2, A, B, C, D, and subsection 118, 3, and 4. Further, by 31st of December, the CRA makes recommendation on revenue sharing, vertically and horizontally. Again, is section 190 that talks about that. Now, on the details of what happens in September 30th, is that preparation of the county budget review and outlook paper. This captures updated economic and financial forecast with sufficient information that will inform the budget proposal. It also reviews the previous year's budget and updates outlook for the forthcoming budget year and sets preliminary budget sector ceilings over 3 years. Okay, what I want to tell you is that the budget in itself is being guided by sections of the law, one after the other, one after the other. The PFM Act has given a detailed in terms of sections of the law how the budget should be carried out. But the underscore is the public participation. That is lodged within the county assembly becomes a public document. Any document that is lodged within the county assembly becomes a public document. Lakini hapa again the emphasis says that wakati ishakuwa approved imemalizika, within 7 days lazima wananchi wapate copy za budget ya Mombasa County Government. Ni haki yao wakitaka ni haki yao, ni lazima wapatiwe, because now that is a public document. Now, under the budget execution, we have what we call monitoring. The most important aspect of this stage is that the County Executive Finance Department, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Participation, supplies detailed information on regular basis to the citizen about the way the budget is being implemented. Hii pia inatakikana CEC Finance akishirikiana na idara tofauti kama department ya Richard Chacha wakitoa piecemeal katika miadhara na kusema okay, this is what we've been implementing and this is how the government is implementing the projects. Now the audit is that each county government is required to produce several reports submitted to various institutions and the public has outlined in the PFM Act, and the institution includes the County Assembly, Controller of Budget, Commission of Revenue Allocation, and Kenya National Audit Office. Okay, kwa kifupi, the audit section ni kuwa budget execution report comparing budget amount to actual, okay. Maybe the most important thing here is nafikiri vitu vingi hapa nimevizungumza, and a published report is considered ready for public dissemination if can satisfy the following criteria. Information is factual, accurate and specific and relevant. So kwa kifupi, that is all about budget process making.
As we wind up, please allow me to extend my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you. I appreciate that there are so many things you could have done over the weekend, but you chose to be here with us. I'm truly grateful, and I think I speak on behalf of all of us that we have truly appreciated your presence. I would now like to hand over to Bwana Rais aweze kutufungia mkutano na pengine ku welcome any closing remarks. Asanteni sana.
kufikia saa hizi tunajua wengi wetu tuna huzuni kwa sababu tunamaliza, na wengi wetu tulitaka kwamba tuweze kuendelea mpaka kesho na kesho kutwa, kwa sababu kufikia saa hizi kila mmoja ana ule umuhimu wa hii familia mbili kuja mahali pamoja, si ndio hivyo? Lakini kulingana na majukumu mingi ambayo tuko nayo nje, tunasema kwamba tutaweza kwenda kuyashughulikia kwa sababu jamii inahitaji zaidi. Tukikaa hapa tutakuwa tunazidi kupoteza yale mahitaji ya wananchi kule mashinani. Kwa hivyo mimi ningependa kuchukua fursa hii kabla sija kutoa comment yangu ya mwisho, nitaweza kumpatia Mheshimiwa Civilizer, ataweza kutupatia vote of thanks kwa niaba ya huu mkao, alafu nitampatia pia Mheshimiwa Speaker na yeye pia kwa dakika mbili tu at least na yeye Mheshimiwa Speaker aweze kutupatia kauli yake ya mwisho, alafu Mheshimiwa Mr. Adam Beto na wewe pia utatupatia closing remarks, at least tukiwa tuko katika ile hali ya kumalizia, maana tunatafuta njia ya kutoka katika hilo midano. Kwa hivyo mpaka tutafuta hiyo model tunatoka na njia hii. Kwa hivyo karibu sana Mheshimiwa Chairman.
Good afternoon.
Mambo ya usijali, tutazungumza na wasanii wengi siku nyingine
ile ndo football Mugabe.
Naona kama kidonda.
Mugabe.
Mugabe. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon. Mambos. Mkongangari. Mkopoa. Bas. Hizi mtu wa siasa ni kwa sababu nasema tibi. Nasema tiala. Nasema nasa. Nasema resist.
no waseme.
Okay, guys, let me take this opportunity to thank my honorable members of County Assembly Mombasa. Actually, I'm very grateful for the youthful MCAs. Kusema kweli, hii team ni team nyingine nzuri sana, guys. I don't know if you've realized, but the team yenye imekuwa represented up. First of all, before I continue, let me convey the apology message ya Kitula, Honorable Kitula. Angependa sana the chief of Mombasa County. Ndio mjue kwamba Governor Joe na Mombasa County na value vijana. The chief of Mombasa County is only 25 years old. Naenda na control the bunge. Angependa kuwa hapa lakini kwa sababu ambazo zingeweza kutokika, at least amebaki kule ashughulikie mambo mengine, kitu amesema kwamba yuko na sisi. Secondly, Honorable Amria Boy pia angependa kuja hapa lakini yuko katika hali ya kufunga ndoa sumu. Kwa hivyo sasa tumemruhusu at least ajifiche kidogo, ajirefresh. But huyo yuko na sisi. Mheshimiwa Gutu mlimuona katika hali yake, lakini alijaribu kafika, lakini bado yuko na maumivu. Ilikuwa jana lazima arudi hospitali, na manake alitoka ile hospitali. Hii inaonyesha kwamba youth MCAs wako tayari kufanya kazi na MYA. Secondly, ningependa kushukuru MYA Mombasa Youth Assembly ikiongozwa na Rais mtukufu Rais Alisudi. Alisudi is a good friend of mine. Tumefanya kazi karibu sana na speaker na clerk, and mimi najua kwamba tusiongee sana na ibaki kwa paperwork. Time ya kuongea imeisha. We need to get back to work. We need to deliver kwa Mombasa. Na mimi najua working relation yetu ilimekreatiwa hapa, the team, the working team, the working committee team comprising of 5 MCAs and 5 MY members will deliver. So mimi nawashukuru sana.
Kwanza yangu ni matatu. Kwanza nashukuru kwa nafasi kuwa na nyinyi hapa mpaka hapa, na tumeishi kwa vizuri na tumeweza kutengeza familia nyingine kubwa sana Hiyo ni shukrani kubwa. La pili, labda niwahakikishie hiki kikao ambacho kiko hapa na yale maazimio na yale mambo ambayo mmepitisha na mtaka kufanya kama vijana ni historia kubwa katika jamii yetu ya Kenya, na mnaenda nyumbani nikiwa na matumaini makubwa kwamba ile dhana kwamba sisi ni watu wa kuongozwa itaondoka, na hizi kwamba ni wakati kwamba kaunti ya Mombasa imepewa jina la 001 itakuwa mbele kuonesha mfano kwa kaunti zingine na namna gani ya kuweza kufanya, na tunahisi hii itakuwa ni mfano. Na mimi nawahakikishia kwamba Simba sana ni hata ninajua kwamba mkao kama huu, maingiliano kama haya hakuna katika Jamhuri, na hivi hata mlivyokuwa mnazungumza habari ambazo nilizipata kutoka nje ni kwamba mwangalie kitu gani ambacho kitaweza kuachieve ili muweze mkafundishe wengine, na nafikiri mshaanza, kwa sababu jana nilisikia mwakilishi mmoja akisema kwamba mlipokwenda katika michezo, sio kama nilimnukuu kwa hapa, naomba unisikize, sije kama nilimnukuu makosa, kwamba jana mlipokuwa katika michezo ya county wenzenu waliwashangaa kwamba hii ni timu ya Bandari ama ni timu ya Sandwich, sio? Kwa sababu mlionekana kwamba mbona wako vijana wengi. Hiyo ni dalili nchi yoyote ambayo ina tamaa ya kuwa mbele wanawekeza rasilimali yao kwa vijana. Kwa kwamba mmepewa nafasi kama hiyo, tuna tamaa kubwa kwamba kaunti yetu itasonga mbele.